Thanks for everyone meeting tonight. It's 6:32 p.m. This is the regular meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, Monday, December the 5th, 2022. We do have a quorum. We have myself, Derek Parks, Chair. To my left, you have Mr. Kevin, and to my right, you have Ms. Karen, and across from me, you have Meg. Down the line, number one is called order, which I did that. The second one is the consent agenda items. Tonight we have two items on the consent agenda items. The first one is approving minutes from November 7th, 2022. Members and officers, do y'all have any questions regarding the minutes from November 7th?
We approved both of those together as being.
I guess the first is approving the minutes.
I think with the consent agenda, we approved the whole thing as one month.
Yeah, so it just,
Or we
all the items can be,
approved all at once.
in one motion. They don't need to be read. You can just ask for a vote on the consent agenda.
Okay. I'm just gonna read the second one, is, to consider approving the preliminary plat for a data center in the Alamo Mission subdivision on approximately 179.166 acres, out of the Bend East Fraser Survey, abstract number 371, Edmund Shirley Survey, abstract number 1013, and the Johnstone Survey, abstract number 1014, on the northwest corner of East Middle Road and North State Highway 342 in the city of Red Oak, Texas. Case number P.S. and Paul, Found 22-19, requested by Alamo Missions LLC and Red Oak Industrial Development Corporation.
Do we approve the consent?
Any questions for you? Questions on, okay, go ahead, sir.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And just to be, because we found out after a meeting a few months ago that we had things set up wrong, is Meg officially here tonight as a member, or make sure we
Yeah, Meg will be officially here, and then Kaylee will be.
okay.
Leroy just logged, after you do that, Leroy just logged on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Consent agenda items have been approved. Also, too, we have a member on Zoom, Leroy, he's the vice chair. So he is available. Okay, moving down to new business, which is consent agenda item number 3, and that's conduct a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural district to planned development zoning district 148 for the development of a single-family residential subdivision, open space, and commercial lot on approximately 43.74 acres in the DJ Wendler Survey, abstract number 1146. Further described as being south of East Ovilla Road and approximately 2,900 feet west of Pratt Road in the city of Red Oak, Texas, Ellis County. Case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat, 22-37, requested by TPS Red Oak LLC.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a request to change the zoning on the subject site in order to build 53 single-family homes, 3 open spaces, and 3 future commercial lots. The lots will be a minimum of 22,000 square feet in size, and the homes will have a minimum living area of 2,200 square feet. There will be 2 access points to the site with monument signs and landscaping at the entrances. 4 feet sidewalks will be installed along the residential frontages, and 5 feet sidewalks will be installed along the commercial frontages. There will be a 6 feet masonry screening wall to screen the commercial properties from the residential subdivision. There will also be a 6 feet black decorative metal fence with brick or stone columns at the property corners, and in intervals of 50 feet along all open spaces. There'll be a 6-feet board-on-board cedar fences, which will be installed on the eastern, western, and southern property boundaries. The subdivision will include a wet pond with 8 feet wide trails, a dock, and benches in the center of the subdivision. The applicant is proposing to install culverts at each driveway with ditches, and this will have more rural appearance. The City Transportation and Infrastructure Plan has adopted a more context-based approach in thoroughfare planning. 2 of the 4 context types are suburban neighborhood and rural neighborhood. This site is in suburban neighborhood designation, which uses are primarily residential and homes front on low-volume roads. Roads in this designation typically have curb and gutter streets and are designated as local roadways. Staff recommends approval of the request with the condition that curb and gutter streets be installed in subdivision. Staff is available for any questions, and I believe the applicant is here as well.
If I could just add on to it, so this is one of our classic areas over here on the side of town that we've got no sewer. And so these are the TCEQ minimum lot sizes for a septic, on-site septic system. We asked the applicant to provide a septic layout showing that the home could fit on the lot with additional improvements in the backyard. We don't want people to not be able to put in a pool or a shed or like a covered patio or something because their whole backyard is septic spray field, and so they provided that to show that there's ample room for both a pool and, in this case, a small accessory building in the back, so that, people can actually utilize their backyards beyond just a spray field. Emma just mentioned, I just want to reiterate, they are proposing bar ditch roadways, and they are proposing, which is more of a rural section, which I would agree does fit in with some of what's surrounding it, but I would say that since it is in the city, we'd rather see a curb and gutter product, because you'll end up getting water ponding in these ditches, and then the city would be responsible for coming to clean them out, things like that. Now, we did ask them to show on the plan that they did provide with the bar ditches that there be a concrete liner in the bottom to try to hold that grade, which would help with that, but not necessarily prevent all occurrences of ponding. So you see there's a small pilot channel. The other reason we have done recently, if you guys remember Cole Manor, let me jump over there, did that subdivision very similarly with the bar ditch, the concrete liner. But what happened is, and what we get a myriad of complaints about, is the location of the sidewalk and how close it is to the street, how close it is to the home and how far it is away from the street. And so we got a lot of complaints from the builder on that, and then subsequently with the homeowners. Because it's tough to get the sidewalk in a location. Here it's about 40 feet off the roadway here because of the ditch. And so to eliminate that concern and complaint and what has generally been seen as a negative to the folks in this community, I recommend that we go with our standard curb and gutter section. Now, there could be an alternative over in Crystal Lake, right across the street from them. We allowed them to do, we allowed them to do a lay-down curb, which you get the same effect as curb and gutter, but the curb is laid back so that when they tie in the driveway, they don't have to cut out the street. Now, this is a developer doing this project on the Crystal Lake development. It was the developer was also the home builder, so he took that into account as far as cost and what it would cost them to build the homes as well. So But I'll let the development kind of make his, or the developer make his case to y'all, but I think in staff's opinion, we would prefer to see, curb and gutter. I did offer a solution. The main reason for not wanting curb and gutter is, because of the sizing of the storm inlets and storm drains. I did offer a solution that we could look at some of the requirements, that could, in designing the storm system, that would still convey the stormwater. It would just result in a far less amount of inlets and storm drain line. And my opinion of the situation was, by the time you go in and put in a culvert on every lot, it's just like putting in storm drain in the street. But again, I believe it's more the fact that the developer is not also building the homes, and so he's not taking that into consideration. He's just thinking about what the storm drain would cost up front. Other than that, the subdivision will have, a nice amenity that is, taking advantage of the natural topography as well as a natural creek that runs through the site. So I do think it'll be a nice subdivision, walkable. One of the things we've been dealing with a lot lately is the post office, right? They want they want the singular location for the mailbox center, and so they provided that, as well as a small little bump out for parking. Even though we want people to walk to it, we know that's not always going to happen, but having a couple of parking spots for people to pull in and park to get them off the roadway is nice. It's also covered, so that people can get their mail in the rain, and then it's our typical masonry encasement, just for a nice aesthetic look. Uses are basic kind of neighborhood uses in the commercial area. If you'll remember, the comp plan encourages commercial development along the Villa Road, which is why we left these parcels out for commercial development. They're probably not viable today as commercial, or they couldn't get the highest and best use in there today, but we got to set it up for when we have 90,000 cars a day passing there, right? And that's why we want that commercial. Those were kind of the highlights, and I'm gonna hit everything else. So I'll, if you have any questions, let me know. But
Thank you, Ben. And also, too, we have tonight is Ben, Director of Development Services, and Jackie here also for the planning and zoning. Sorry about overlooking that. This is a public hearing. Those in favor of this item, please go first. State your name, your address, and give us your position. Here, President.
let me know if you want to flip to a certain exhibit, and I'll.
I think that's a good one, Ben.
Okay.
My name is Jeff Crandall, CCM Engineering, 2570 Justin Road, Highland Village, Texas. I'm not a stranger to the city of Red Oak, been doing work around here for a long time, as well as the surrounding community. This site, we're really excited about this site. As Ben was mentioning, it's got some really nice topography features. It's got a really nice pond area. We hope to make the most out of those amenities, and excited to have it done. We had looked at some higher density developments, which I think the city would have supported, but sewer capacity is really kind of choking down this part of the world. So we'd like to see that growth, but it wasn't really a viable financial option to bring sewer to this site. So we like to have acre zoning. We like this. The developer really is interested in doing the residential section with no curb and gutter with your bar ditch. And at that point, it gives us more of a rural feel. I do get the idea with the sidewalks, and that is an issue. I live in a rural subdivision myself, and I enjoy that aspect of just having open bar ditch and a little bit more rural feel that is matching to the surrounding neighborhood that we've got us on all three sides. So that's certainly something that we would prefer. We understand staff's comments and their input as far as sidewalk location is not ideal, but certainly from the standpoint of use of this neighborhood, I think it gives us just a little bit more rural feel, because we're right on the outskirts of town. We actually just annexed in, so we're new to the city of Red Oak. But at that point, if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to listen to those, answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I did not go through the elevation, I mean, I also forgot to mention, doing our standard, decorative street lights, decorative street signs, so here's a few of the elevations. So, nice homes that you would expect to see on larger style lots. Sorry, but that's it.
Anyone else in favor of this item? Or anyone else, anyone that's against this item, you can go, next. Please state your name, full name, and your full address, please.
Good evening, my name is Philip Poppy, and my address is 135 Dearborn Circle, Red Oak, Texas. And I'm not necessarily against the development so much as I am interested in making sure that the property
He emailed me earlier today, and he's got a concern behind his house where there's, some regrading that would need to be done. And so he's concerned that it might get missed, and if they grade the property improperly, it would get in his house. Is that a good explanation?
Yes, when you brought up the street view a while ago there on the board, and you saw two people walking in the street, that was myself and my wife.
Okay.
And I don't think it was developed initially that way, but the north side of my house, between me and my next door neighbor on the north, there is a low spot there that drains from the street gutter, right through there. And that's natural drainage. And this last time we had the 6-inch rain in the same day, I think it was August 22nd, I had water surrounding my entire house, flowing through my front yard, flowing down the side by that travel trailer, and out across that property in the back. And if that elevation grade changes and rises any at all to prevent that natural flow, my house will flood.
So I did go back and look at their drainage area map, and they are picking that up as showing that as an area that they'll have to take into account. If you can see there, that orange line, that's the line that's going between your home and your neighbor's home. So they're already showing that it's going to be something that they're going to have to address when the grading and the development's done.
So that will keep the elevation low enough that natural flow will remain, hopefully.
Yes.
Of course, there's a creek, as you mentioned, further down the street that flows into that pond on that property.
Right.
And another issue is with the curb drainage or gutter draining, like varnish draining, like you mentioned, those are not maintained well, and the culverts get backed up, and that's what's happening is on the side away from my house, which would be the west side of the board, those are not cleaned properly, so when it rains that hard and for that long, the water actually flows over the street and through my yard, and I've got video of it happening that day, a lot of it. So, again, I'm not opposed to development. I know that that's going on, and that's how we grow and move towards the future. But I do want to make sure that when this is completed, that my house doesn't flood.
Sure. So our goal is always to take into account the existing condition. Now, if there's maintenance items that need to be done on your street, you're going to have to get with your county commissioner.
Okay.
And so that's who I would reach out to about cleaning up culverts and things like that. But when I get engineering plans to review, I would be looking for the existing condition and how are we going to solve the problems that are on this site due to existing conditions off-site.
Okay, and so that yellow line that you mentioned there is denoting that natural drainage that runs across.
They're picking that up as a drainage issue that they will have to solve in the actual fine-tuned design time.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Ben?
Yes.
Can I ask, that drainage he's talking about, where is it in relation to the lots that are planted now?
The lots that are proposed,
On the plat now, yeah.
they go in between, it's right here, so they've got they're proposing a drainage easement through here.
Between those two homes.
Yeah, so it'll go in between two lots. So I believe, he's lot 17, and then he's got lot 18 here, so it's somewhere on a lot line. Jeff, do you know?
If you look at the development plan, we have changed. Okay.
Oh, yeah, right here, between lot 1 and lot 2, 20-foot drainage easement to pick that up, bring it through. That 20-foot DE main drainage easement.
Anyone else present against the item? We have an email, that was presented, and it says it's here, living at 135 Ward Circle, Red Oak, Texas. The person stated there is a natural stormwater runoff on the north side of our property that drains across PD 148. Our concern is.
That was him there.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was him.
135, 131. And we did have an email from a resident located at 125 Board Circle. Person said, I am against the zoning change as proposed in case number Zebra C as CAD 22-37. Please include and form our response any appropriate respective agency authority. So this person just named our agency. And another mailing card from 123 Board Circle. And this person, the resident of this location, to state their are against this item. So can I have a motion to close the public hearing, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? Second. Public hearing has been closed. Commissioners, do y'all have any questions? Leroy, I know you're on Zoom. Do you have any questions regarding, agenda item currently?
Small question, but it says that they could have garage doors, front or side or rear entry. There's no alleyway, so they do a rear entry.
So you do a rear entry, I wish I had a good example. You would just be a long driveway that goes in the back, and then you turn it like that. Because the lots are so big, you've got ample room to do that.
Okay.
Like the elevation of the house. The subdivision, we had pulled up the water dish, that's close to my house, so I've seen it. But that's a different feel than I thought.
If you have the sidewalks that far back, though, would be. I'm gonna use that. Often when you have so much traffic.
Other questions? Leroy, I see you have any questions regarding this agenda item?
I was just wondering about that solution that Ben had mentioned about the other neighborhood. Do you think that's gonna fly pretty well, or do you think there's gonna be problems with that solution?
Which solution are you talking about?
You said there was another neighborhood, another development that has a different solution than the Cole Manor Estate.
Yeah, again, that solution was more attractive to the developer, because they were also building the homes. So, they were gonna save money at the time, they were gonna spend more money in the development and then save money when they built the actual homes based on that solution.
Do you think it'll have the same drainage problems that Cole Manor has?
So as of right now, Cole Manor, it's got some backup at, I don't know. Over here, let me see. But the solution to the bar ditches is trying to put a concrete liner you can see in the bottom to hold the grade. The issue is always that one person won't take care of their yard as well as everybody else, and the silt just fills up in their yard and backs up in their culvert, and then the entire street has a problem. So this liner is meant to hold that. Now, you can see right here, they got a little bit of dirt in there, and then it's holding water, you know? And so you'll see this, and this person, I don't know if it's the builder or they just haven't been taking care of it lately or what, but I would just say, you know, we would expect these things to happen with this type of development, even if we do the liner. And it is kind of a public works nightmare because people are like, well, it's in the right of way, you gotta take care of our ditch, and we're like, no, it's your yard, you need to take care of your yard, and then it's always a big fight. So we try to head these things off the path by not really allowing stuff like this, or, I don't know, if the developer wanted to provide their, HOA documents that showed, that called out specifically that the bar ditches were the maintenance, responsibility of the HOA, I'd feel less heartburn about it, because now at least the city isn't going to be in a fight with the residents about keeping the drainage clear or coming out and doing maintenance in their yard. I'll let him speak to that if he wants to, but that would be probably one of the only things that staff would, I wouldn't necessarily say support, but not be against.
Do you see a lot of issues with these bar ditches? Do you see a lot of issues?
Well, I mean, this neighborhood is only like 3 years old, and you can kind of see just going through here that there's backup, and it's like not even raining that day. You know, this is probably from their sprinklers. But yeah, you can see that trying to hold that grade is tough. It really does come down to the homeowners maintaining, but, you know, like I said, if one person at the bottom of the hill doesn't maintain, everybody's, you know, screwed.
Okay.
Jeff, did you have something?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt again. Developer is here with us this evening. Stephen indicated that he would be happy to put in the HOA docs that they would maintain all of our ditches up to the sidewalk. There's even a way possibly to put that sidewalk closer to the street and move the bar ditch further back, but that's kind of a final design question. But yes, he's willing to accept the HOA to do that maintenance and maintain that. And I know I've been a city engineer myself, been for 10 years, so I've got those phone calls. Like I said, I live in a neighborhood like that, and we do take care of our ditches. We don't have the concrete ribbon, which is a huge benefit, so it becomes manageable. I think it's more just picking up debris and trash and silt that may get in there on an annual basis. But yes, we'll accept that ownership and accept that responsibility in the HOA docs.
Thank you, Jim.
The city dictates the grade of that ditch, and that's why the sidewalk is so.
We'll typically want to see a 4-to-1 slope, just so that it's maintainable. 3-to-1 is maintainable, but it's harder to mow. So we'll want to see something like that. But then kind of get down. Now, luckily, this drainage is kind of split, so it's not like it's like the whole subdivision. So like the bar ditches will be pretty evenly sized throughout, versus kind of our issue in Coal Manor is that everything kind of drains around to one spot, and the top width of the bar ditch is like 50 feet at the end. But you know, I would have an idea. Have you looked at it? Do you know what the top widths are going to be of the bar ditches? Like 20 feet, maybe?
Yes, Dan, we've looked at this. We have a really good site for drainage. It tends to have 3 major drainage ways that pass through this site. And so that's where our majority of our water comes from. Even Mr. Poppy's piece, we will take through and get into our street system. So we don't have a large run of water. It just kind of passes right through. So we've got that east-west one right there at the top of the screen that goes into our little park and out. We do have a big one at the bottom left, southwest corner, that, there you go, right there, where it passes under. And then we have the piece of, that the commercial, yes, right there. Those are our 3, and that's a relatively speaking small, not to say there's not a lot of water in your yard, but it's not the major drainage basin that's coming through. So those are our 3 entering, and of course, we have the main exit point to our east. We're not going to have a long run of high volumes of water on this site. It's just, it's working out really well from that drainage standpoint.
Yeah, so the basic pavement section, they're showing a 15-foot spread width with 3-to-1 slopes. So, not out of the question. I mean, it's better than anything the county has.
Ditch depths will be somewhat shallow for that reason, except in the major ones. So I'm probably going to push that out to 4-to-1. I've got a 4-to-1 in my yard. 3-to-1 on a riding mower is a little tricky.
Any more questions? All right, and can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we accept.
So there's kind of 2 things up for either approve it, motion to approve it as is, or approve it with staff recommendations with the as is being bar ditch stuff we just discussed, or the staff recommendations, but with the on the bar ditch stuff, we would have a caveat that the HOA would be responsible for maintenance of the ditches. Okay.
And that we would accept it with
The HOA.
HOA
Maintaining the
responsibility
ditches, okay.
and, like, your recommendations on it.
Second.
HOA's on the,
Same thing.
eventual verification. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Leroy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Agenda item 3 has been approved. Moving along to agenda item 4. And this is another, conduct a public hearing, and consider the zoning change from plan development, 29R to plan development 29R2 to amend the approved site plan by removing the existing fountain and replacing it with an outdoor seating area for this site on Lot 2R and Block B of Red Oak Business Park. Number 1, located on the south corner of South Main Street and the railroad tracks and addressed as 205 South Main Street, to the Red Oak, Ellis County, Texas. Case number Z as in zebra, C as in cat, 22-36, requested by Stephen Zimmer. Staff.
This is a request to amend the approved site plan by removing the existing fountain and replacing it with an outdoor seating area. The original site plan was approved with a fountain and an eagle statue in the central area of the plaza. According to the applicant, the fountain is no longer functional and constantly attracts mosquitoes and trash. The attached photo that we'll bring up here in a little bit is an example of the patio that the applicant wishes to have installed in the site. And a finalized site plan will show ADA compliance and the actual location of the proposed patio during the permitting phase. And staff recommends approval of the request as presented.
If you look at your screen there, that's the original fountain. And so that hasn't worked, no one's maintained it, no one's taken care of it, but the complex, agent has a restaurant interested in the space, and so they're wanting to, take out the fountain so they can do like an outdoor seating area, which, here's the picture that Emma was referencing. Showed it on the table. Oh, sorry, there it is. Okay. So here's the patio, the fountain is about right here, so they'll be removing it. There's also, they had some landscaping that had a bunch of the pool, or I guess it's pool equipment, but it's for the fountain. But they'll be able to take all that stuff out now, 'cause it's kind of an eyesore. So they'll remove all that, remove the fountain, and then have open seating out here, which is nice. We don't have a ton of places that have open seating in town, so, it's a pretty big restaurant. They've got several tables in there, so.
You know what's going on there?
The bar and grill, I don't know what the name of it is. 342 bar. Real on the nose.
Yeah, that's fine. This is a public hearing, so those that are in favor of this item, you can please go first. Those against this item, you can go second, or if you have any questions, you can go third. So, anyone in favor of this item? We did receive a letter, I guess an email from, one of the managing partners of the shopping center, Mr. Randall Grubbs, Mandalay Holdings. He is in favor of this item, anything to improve the quality and ease of life for both the landlord and the potential tenant. That was stated in the email for this item. I don't think do we have anybody against this item or any questions? Now, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
We close the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing has been closed. Members, do y'all have a, what is this, zoning?
Has renovation of the space begun? I noticed the dumpster outside. One of those trailers, was that previous or? is that-
I don't know when that. April. No, it's Zimmerman, you on? Oh, okay. I know they were doing a bunch of remodeling, throughout the complex, but no, that would not have been for this,
Okay.
for this.
Well, I'm leading to a question that if we approve this, will the work be completed regardless of new restaurant opening, or will they get halfway and stop?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. My assumption is that almost any restaurant that would go in there would like to have open
We'd
seating.
like to have it.
So-
I would not like to see it started, gotten halfway, and then left to sit as an eyesore.
Right. I'll tell you what I would think typically happens in these situations is that they are not going to, as the owner is not going to take on a project like this without a signed lease in hand. That they would be kind of sticking their neck out there, right? So I venture a guess that, they would not be doing anything until lease is signed. At that point, if they're obligated in a space like this, which would usually be probably a 5-year lease based on the amount of things they're going to be doing to the inside, that if once they start, they won't stop. Like, obviously can't guarantee that.
And my question, have we already approved or, purchases in the area, aware of it, and they accept for
Yes, so
consideration?
what is also coming up for consideration that doesn't come to you guys, but that does go to council, is a 300-foot variance, because they're gonna be serving alcohol. And so that they're required to get a variance from the city council, to serve alcohol within 300 feet of the church. And I believe, didn't the church give us a?
Yes.
That the church gave us a support letter.
For the restaurant.
For the council agenda.
So when we approved Crab Kings going in this complex, didn't we say at the time that they wanted another restaurant, they had to come up with more parking?
Yeah, I know this is for part.
No, no, it was the church was the issue. So the church in the back was eating up all their parking. So now that church in the very back has moved out, that freed up all the parking that was being,
Yeah.
counted towards the church, right?
Yeah, and also they have to sign an agreement that they only operate Wednesday evenings and Sundays, like between certain hours. That was part of the condition.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, because outdoor, what's for Red Oak?
That's a nice little complex that I always thought was underutilized.
Well, it's under new ownership, and they're trying to revitalize and get energy back into the site. So hopefully, restaurant will be good.
No more questions, can I have a motion, please? Agenda item 4.
I had a quick question.
Go ahead, Leroy.
Is the city interested in having that fountain anywhere else on the property?
I mean, the staff is not necessarily, commission is, I don't know where else it would fit.
Just,
Honestly, it looks like an afterthought, in the original design. Something like that you would typically have as a centerpiece, where you're focusing a lot of pedestrian traffic around it, and it's really just got the sidewalk around it versus, I can't think of an example offhand, that I can show you, but, typically that would be a gathering space of pedestrians, and a focal feature of that outdoor activity, which to me is kind of why it looks like an afterthought, in that location. I don't see another location that you could really, that's on the property. Now, you start talking about something like here, and this building goes away, and, you could probably do something with that, but the property line, goes like this, so they couldn't really go and put a fountain on the other property.
that's fine. I was just curious.
I look back at the minutes from the other, restaurant we approved. It says that 46 spaces would be required for the other restaurant suite to be developed. I mean, as in they don't have 46 spaces.
That was assuming the church.
That was after the time, assuming the church was out.
This is what was approved by council. Current and future parking shall serve all current and future, as long as parking agreements, lot one. So building 17, restaurant building. Right, so the intent was that the bigger spaces that could house restaurants not have to get more parking. But that the church.
Churches have to get they got an agreement that they're only gonna operate on Wednesdays and Sundays. That's one of the conditions that allowed this site to get approved as is. And as you can see, one of them was on, there was a 1 year, after 1 year, they have to get an agreement. I believe that was for buildings 17 and 19, 1901 through 04. They would have to get an agreement with the adjacent property within a certain time. One of them is 1 year, the second one is 2 years. So it didn't address, a future restaurant. It just allowed the parking to be as long as those conditions are met.
I'm not seeing how that's related to our discussion. I'm not following how they're connected. I just remember in fact, it said James McLean asked us to develop those other parking spaces, that other chunk of land. Would there be enough for Crab Kings and another restaurant? And they said, yes, if we did that, then we'd have enough spaces for both restaurants. So it says, the department advised that with the new parking matrix, 46 spaces will be required for the other restaurant suite. So, how are we so concerned with the number of parking spaces in, but now we're not concerned?
So this was approved, even though those that were mentioned during the minutes, this parking was approved as is with those conditions. So they're allowed to operate.
At city council.
Yes, at
So it
city council.
changed from the P&Z recommendation to
Okay.
Yeah.
what the council approved,
The council said you don't need that many spaces for that.
given these
Given
conditions.
those conditions.
And the conditions are,
They have to enter a parking agreement within that 1 year for, I believe it's building 17. And then for building 19, they have to enter, I believe it's parking agreement for the adjacent site.
the Randy's.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to make sure we were all, it was all clear.
Yeah, it was very confusing in council as well. I think I'll do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Now, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve item 4.
All in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. Agenda item 4 has been approved. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Chair, we had put together some, or Emma had put together some notes on the books we gave out last time. If you guys want to discuss, or if you're tired, don't want to, it's fine too, but,
Okay,
Then outside of.
is that outside the, is that outside the?
close it outside of it. Outside. I guess if we're discussing anything, I guess it has to be within the meeting.
Yeah, it has to be within the meeting.
Well, okay, that's what
Go in the minutes.
Yeah, well, hang on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I guess we can put it on the agenda if we're gonna discuss it within the meeting. Okay, sorry about that. We do wanna discuss it, but I guess we need to put it on the agenda, so that's my fault, but, we'll put it on, I think you set it out. So next time we'll put it on the agenda for discussion, and it can just be if you guys want to or not, discussion, right?
Okay. Have a motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right, thank you.
happy holidays, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one.